just over 1 year after the NFL approved the introduction of the private equity into team ownership, the New England Patriots became the fourth franchise to add a private equity investor, elevating the team's valuation above $9 billion. Joining me now to talk more about this movement is Ben Horney, deals reporter at Front Office Sports. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Big times here in the NFL with private equity, for sure.
Yeah, so the NFL approved private equity investments in August of 2024. How has this changed the franchise ownership structure since then?
Well, things are changing pretty drastically. It was a little bit of a slow burn at first. So, as you noted, the policy was approved by the other team owner, or all of the team owners last summer. It was a 31-1 vote. The Bengals were the only team that voted against the policy. Since then, the Patriots were the fourth deal. The other three teams that have taken on private equity investments since then are the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Chargers. The thing is that it's very limited what private equity firms are allowed to own an NFL team. So it's not like it's opened up where a private equity firm can buy 100% or 50% or even 30% of an NFL team. It's actually capped at 10%. So Arctos Partners owns 10% stakes now in the Bills and Chargers. Ares Management owns a 10% stake in the Dolphins, and Sixth Street just recently bought a 3% stake in the Patriots.
All right, and the Washington Commanders were sold for a record $6 billion in 2023. Now the Patriots' latest move places its valuation above $9 billion. How much is private equity bolstering these franchise valuations, in your opinion?
Yeah, so this is happening across the board in the major pro sports. Like you noted, the Commanders, that was a record deal. It was $6.05 billion, I think, was the overall value. Suddenly, you have the Patriots; they're valued at over $9 billion. The Bears recently did an equity swap deal where they were valued at over $8 billion. The 49ers have sold multiple minority stakes in recent months at valuations of over $8 billion. So it is climbing. I do think that private equity plays a major role in the valuations climbing, but there are a lot of other factors at play too. The media rights is a big one. The NFL has a huge, massive 11-year, $111 billion media rights deal that they're actually expected to opt out of because they think they can get better terms.
And given the rising valuations, Ben, do you see private equity becoming the new and maybe only path to ownership in the NFL?
So I do think that the NFL is probably going to eventually open this up a little bit more, but there's not going to be a rush to allow private equity teams any control. So like I mentioned before, the policy is very limited. Private equity firms can own only up to a 10% stake. They're totally passive stakes. They're not allowed to have any governance rights. They're not allowed to have any say in, team management, what's going on the field, who teams are signing, coaching decisions, anything like that. They're totally passive financial investments. And it's because the valuations are rising so much that there's such a limited set of people who can buy into these teams. So I think part of it was that the NFL realized if there's still going to be deal activity, we're going to need to open it up to allow other types of buyers in. So it's really, in order to keep things fluid, they're allowing private equity in. The NFL was the last of the four major U.S. pro sports leagues to do this. Major League Baseball, the National Basketball Association, National Hockey League, they all have previously allowed private equity investors, but all of these leagues, it's limited. You're not going to have, an Arctos Partners being the majority owner of any of these teams.
All right, and as you mentioned earlier, in other NFL business news, the league is reportedly looking to renegotiate its $111 billion media rights deal in 2026. Why would the league do this, and what could this new deal look like?
So it seems like the deal will likely balloon higher than that. So they have an opt-out clause in 2029, but NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell recently made comments suggesting that they're going to start talks even sooner than that. So, like you noted, it could be as soon as next year. With franchise valuations through the roof, ratings continue to be through the roof. The NFL is in talks to expand the season by a game and have 18 regular season games. They're playing games in Brazil. They're trying to expand internationally. I just think the NFL realizes what it is. It's cliche, but everyone that I talk to says the NFL is king, and it is true. Especially in America, the NFL is absolutely the dominant sport. It gets all the eyeballs. It gets all the advertising dollars. And so the NFL rightly sees, I mean, the NBA just recently signed a massive 11-year, $77 billion, media rights deal. So the NFL sees that and says, hey, we can go even higher. Another major factor at play with media rights is the entry of streamers like Amazon and Netflix into the fold. So it used to just be that you had the linear broadcasters fighting over one major overall package. Now you see the NBA is a good example. They spread their package across a bunch of different companies, including Amazon. The NFL already, has Thursday Night Football on Amazon. They expanded that this year. So with more competition in that marketplace, the media rights are going to rise.
And in the last 20 seconds, any thoughts on Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl?
First of all, I just need to say Bad Bunny was fantastic and Happy Gilmore too. He's going to be a great performer. It's a little bit controversial. Adele and Taylor Swift were rumored. But, like I said, the NFL's king. They know what they're doing. I'm sure that it's going to go great.
All right. Thank you, Ben Horney, deals reporter at Front Office Sports.